I'm about to feed them to the sharks right now. Get them hype right now. Yeah. You know the ground is up. Yeah. Everybody that trains, you know the game. Yeah. So let's get it. Slap it up, bump it, and roll. Hey. Yeah, that's the way that it goes. Ain't no better way to better yourself in this game. You're feeling the growth. That's time on the mat. We put in the work. Believe it ain't easy, I know. But we train for the love of the game, the love of the art. Now slap it up, bump it, let's roll.
Welcome to episode 70 of the BJJ Campaign Podcast. My name is Jeff Boone. I'm an A3 blue belt, 3 stripes.
Phil Kors, A2, blue belt, 2 stripes.
Trey Tefft, A3, white belt, 3 stripes.
Very good. And we have Trey on the podcast today. Trey is one of our brothers from Fight to Win Charlotte. And Trey, let's just start off by you telling us how you kind of found your way to Jiu-Jitsu.
All right. I've always been a fan of, UFC stuff. I've been watching that since I was young. But one day, I was talking to my girlfriend, and I was like, I think I want to go to Jiu-Jitsu. I think I want to start it. And she was just like, go for it. She said, go. So I started looking up things, looking up different schools. I found the 2 that I found were Fight to Win, and I think Lucas Lepre was the other one I found.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
And I called them, and this girl answered. She got my information, and I was going to go for like a little trial. It was kind of far away, South Boulevard, but I was going to give it a shot. And like 2-3 days later, I got like a bunch of emails from them and stuff like that. They started kind of blowing up my social media stuff, and I don't really like that. It kind of feels not personal, if you know what I mean. And so I was like, maybe I don't really want to go there. So I called Fight to Win. That was the second school that I saw. And I talked to Steve immediately. He answered the phone. And he just felt more personal. He was just like, yeah, man, come on down here. Have a lot of fun. Show up on Monday. I'll be here. Just, ask for me. And I did that. And here we are. But if that's pretty much like the run of them. Like that's like this, summed up version. I did it because I needed something to help me like deal with some of the struggles that I go through, like an outlet basically.
Sure.
And I've never really liked to do I've never been a person that likes to lift weights. I do play some sports, but I was never like on the football team, or I was never like the varsity athlete. I played soccer for a few years, but that's it. So I wanted to do something like that. And I figured it would help, strengthen my ego out. And some things like that, because I have some issues.
Yeah.
And I also have issues like controlling some of that stuff, like in public and with people in personal situations.
So specifically bipolar?
Yeah. Bipolar? So I have bipolar disorder. So I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder at a very young age, 12 years old. At 9 years old, they knew something was wrong. So they just threw me on some Ritalin for a few years. And then when I got older, I first went to a mental health facility at 12, and that's where they gave me the diagnosis of bipolar type 2, which is manic episodes as well.
Sure.
And so I spent like 6 to 8 weeks there, got out, went back to school, 17 years old, went to another one, had some issues in high school, got kicked out of high school my senior year. And my parents thought I wasn't doing very well, so they put me in this, psychiatric facility to just make sure that I wasn't, going off the deep end. They put me on medication again, which I didn't like. It doesn't make me feel like a human being. So I hated it. I've always hated it. At one point, they had me on like 12 different medications at once. Some really hardcore ones, lithium or Sparadol, things that when you look up, they're pretty hardcore.
Sure.
So after I got out of there, I completely stopped taking medicine because I knew it wasn't something that was going to benefit me or make my life any better. It just made me like a zombie, like numb to everything, no emotions, and it didn't calm any kind of anger down or anything like that. Like
sure.
it maybe suppressed some manic phases, but you still got mad. You can ask my mother and father. I still had, outbursts. So going through my 20s, was difficult because I was trying to figure out ways on my own to do it. Not talking to a therapist, talking to people. I've always been pretty open about things,
Sure.
in my life. So talking to people and then just trying to figure out different coping mechanisms for when you're in situations that would trigger something.
Mm-hmm.
I've always been an extremely physical person. I've always played. I've always been outdoorsy. I've always done a very physical job. Never had an office job. Primarily what I've done is like work on golf courses, do landscaping, things like that. Cut down trees. That's what I do a lot of. So that outlet always helped me a little bit because when you're dog tired, it's hard to get mad about really anything.
Sure.
So jiu-jitsu is the same, the logic there. You're pretty tired when you're done, especially if you're doing it right. You're extremely tired. So things happened in my 20s that sent me pretty downhill. I lost a girlfriend of mine at a young age. She was hit by a drunk driver and killed. That really didn't do anything positive for my life situation because I was already me and my buddy were living together in this trailer that was not good situation. We were working, we were drinking all the time, we were just making not good decisions. But we were just together, we were doing whatever. So I moved around, bounced around, house to house, place to place, lived at the beach some, lived in Greensboro a little bit, and finally I just was like, I gotta get my shit together. I knew that I was, out of control. I hadn't solidly worked a job for more than a year and a half at a time. I hadn't figured out what I wanted to do. I was 26, 27 years old. I was I need to do something. I was I'm gonna go back to school. I'm gonna move back home, go back to school. I had got a job. When I was figuring all this out, I went to see my parents and I got a job. So I was that was the first step where I was all right, I'm going to go home and work this job that I want to do. I'm going to go to school. I'm going to get my degree in turf grass management. This is the start of getting my shit together, basically. Sure. Well, that went horribly wrong. I got back here, and that process started, off well. I went to school, was doing everything well. I had a girlfriend at the time, and she was extremely bipolar as well. And that's not something that mixes at all. Two bipolar people, they can't be together in a relationship.
Right.
Maybe they can in some crazy way, but in my experience, it's not. It's just fire and fire.
Yeah.
It's just the same thing. So that ended tragically and very blown up out of proportion. I was homeless for a little while, lived in my truck, but I maintained my job.
Yeah.
But I had to drop the school.
Yeah.
Because I had to focus on getting my life together. So after that, I kept my job, kept everything, and just started to rebuild everything. Slowly saved up money, got myself a place to stay, was living with a guy. Some things happened. I don't really want to go into that very much.
Sure, yeah.
Some things happened that weren't great legally, so dealt with that. But in the midst of that, when I was living with that guy, I got in a really bad accident at work. I was working for a guy doing residential treatments of fertilizer, weed control, taking care of the trees and shrubs, just doing all kinds of stuff like that for all these, really high-end houses and stuff like that. I liked the job. It was fun.
Sure.
But I got in a pretty bad accident, and my shoulder got extremely messed up. So went on workman's comp, and I was in that battle for 3.5 years, and that was terrible. Not being able to work, having to sit at home, not knowing what to do. I didn't get paid for the first 6 months. The doctors didn't really take care of me the way they should have. They misdiagnosed things, sent me back to work when I was really messed up. So going through that was really hard. So I got through that. And then my buddy got me a job working in a kitchen just to get out of the house. 3.5 years in your house, not having a job.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
I was playing a lot of video games.
Sure.
There's really nothing else you can do.
Yeah.
Because I was nervous. You're in a workman's comp thing. I don't want to be outside doing things and then take pictures of me or
Yeah.
Because they send investigators. That's not naive to think. My lawyer told me that.
Yeah.
She was like, they might send an investigator to come watch you. So don't do anything stupid.
Right.
Don't go work if you think you can. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Stay at home. Whatever. I can't do that. My personality works against that type of behavior. If I'm sitting alone for long periods of time, I go crazy.
Yeah.
And that works against that bipolar nature because that's what makes it fester even more because you get time alone with your thoughts. Your thoughts spiral. You go into worse thoughts. And then that spirals you into depression. And then you go manic. And that's not good at all. Because it's hard to get out of that.
Yeah.
So after I got the job, things started to get a little better. Started to get a little more confidence back. I was really heavy. I gained I weigh 170 right now, so I was at 195. And for my frame, that's just not. I was just pudgy and eating a lot of fast food and pizza and just terrible diet.
And that probably didn't help with your bipolar disorder either to have a poor diet.
No,
right?
I don't think so at all. I think that those chemicals and stuff are definitely not good, and just all the sugar and processed foods are probably terrible for you. I know that your brain and body function together, and your body is not in good shape when you're eating all that kind of crap.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that contributed to a lot. And I was also extremely dependent on, pain pills.
Sure.
They started me on them in the beginning because I was in so much pain. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't move. It was like somebody was just stabbing me in the arm.
Yeah.
There was a bone chip that was sticking into my rotator cuff. So it was constantly tugging at it. And it just felt like glass almost inside my arm. So it started there. It spiraled out of control. I let it get out of control. I take responsibility in my life. So I let it get out of control to the point where I was going to the streets, getting, way too strung out on pain pills.
Yeah, sure.
For your own good.
Yeah.
And I was caged up. I had my girlfriend who's my saint, but, she's not like she can just make me do something. She's my rock. She's there for me. She gets me through all the hard times, but she's not going to make me stop doing pain pills. Nobody's going to tell me what to do. You know what I'm saying? It's
an addiction.
That way.
Sure.
Right. It's just that way. And I come from a long line of addiction. So when it comes to that stuff, it's over.
Yeah.
It's game over. So that's why I have to focus. I have to get other addictions. I have to focus myself on other things.
We prefer to call it an obsession. It seems a little, or a passion. It seems a little friendlier than to say that we're sick about jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Because we're not going to go into recovery for it.
No. I have a fever. And
some addictions are good.
Yeah.
And that's
right.
That's something that definitely should be talked about more, is that if you have an addictive personality, which is 100% a real thing, and I know a lot of people struggle with it, find healthy addictions. Find things that are positive to be addicted to. Because there's so many negative things to be addicted to. There's so many vices to grab onto. See, I've trimmed my vices down. I had way too many. I've trimmed them down. The more you can get rid of those negative vices, you can add positive vices in there. That mental clarity comes way better. And backing yourself out of those times where you're going to go down that dark hole become easier. So after that happened, that's about the time that I started jiu-jitsu. I was working, and I was like, all right, this job sucks. I'm glad to get out of the house and get a paycheck, but I don't want to be doing this. I want to be doing what I want to do. So I need to get back in shape. That's one thing. I got to start working out again because I was weak.
Yeah, because if you're going to be doing physical labor outside, you've got to be in shape.
Exactly. And also, when I was in high school and in my 20s, I was about 185 pounds. So I was a bigger guy. I did lift weights in high school, but throughout that slump and stuff, you lose all that.
Sure.
So to get back from 195, I was getting out of the house, I was running, I was doing physical activity, and one day, like I said, I was just sitting there talking with my girl, and I was like, I really want to do jiu-jitsu. And maybe it's listening to all the podcasts I've listened to, watching UFC.
It's a slow brainwash with the podcast,
just people talking about the benefits of it. That's really what it was. Joe Rogan, God, I know that's the most cheesiest thing to say.
No, it's him and Jocko's got me into it.
Yeah, but because he has so many of those influential jiu-jitsu people in his life, he talks about it a lot. And then you go watch them, and you hear them talk about it, and they always talk about mental clarity and positive mental attitude and those benefits that you can get. And I was like, okay, if they talk that much shit about how much mental relief you can get, it's got to be worth it.
Right.
Plus the ego thing. That I don't talk about that a lot because I'm ashamed of it, but I have a terrible ego. And it's because I was raised from being like in a predominantly poor area and not really having anything and not fitting in anywhere. Like I'm the white boy, that doesn't conform with the other white boys, and I always fit in the other sections. And then you go to the richer side of town because my dad created a business and had some money, and you don't fit in with those kids at all.
Right.
And so that was just.
In which way is the ego bad?
Well, because growing up like that, you always are in conflict because you don't fit in anywhere. So you're fighting. So I did a lot of fighting. So I developed an ego. Like I'm this badass dude because I can beat people up, or I beat people up when I was younger. When that's false. I'm not a badass dude. I'm the softest motherfucker dude. I don't want to hurt people. I don't want to inflict any pain on anybody. I don't want to watch people get hurt. I don't like that shit. The only thing that I can do that's violent is hunt and kill animals to eat.
Sure.
That's about as violent as I get. And I think that the only way I'll do that is to eat.
Yeah.
Right.
It's not for sport. I don't do that for sport. So I don't want to inflict pain on people. And acting like I can do that and I'm just such a cool guy is humiliating. And so getting over that was something that I needed. And I knew that was another thing that was talked about quite a bit. They were like, if you got any ego, bro, it's gonna get beat out of you quick.
Yeah.
And that's what I wanted. So I tried to approach this adventure with an open mind and an open, atmosphere as far as like not getting frustrated and knowing that this is not my world. And it was very clear.
Yeah.
30 seconds into it.
Sure.
It was extremely clear. 30 seconds into it, I could get killed in 10 seconds by anybody in this building, and there's not one thing I can do about it. So you better just fucking fit in.
Yeah.
And just be the wheel that doesn't need any oil. Just be you just go with it for now. And that's what I had to do. I didn't try to stand out. I didn't try to go crazy. I tried to just learn as much as I could and keep it simple.
Yeah. And for the listeners, that's a great approach to have whenever you're starting jiu-jitsu. And that is, if you think you're Barney Badass walking in there, it's going to be a really humbling experience. And it can go one of two ways, right? You can say, I never want to do this shit again, or be like me and Trey and probably Phil and be like, oh wow, I got to know how to do this. This is ridiculously fun. So it sounds like Trey, it didn't take you long to get your ego in check at all.
The first couple months I was gung-ho, which everybody is when they're excited about it. I realize that. But I was like, I'm going to get in here. I'm going to get my blue belt. I'm going to show these guys I'm tough. I'm going to get all these moves down. Because I do learn things quickly. I pick up things very quickly. Sure. But I got out of that mindset very quickly. Because I realized that is not a goal that... I'm trying to think of the right way to explain this. In my opinion,
it's not a sustainable goal.
It's not that it's not that too, but it's not what jiu-jitsu is about.
Yeah,
it's not what it's supposed to be about. When you walk this adventure and you go down these roads, you're not supposed to be like, I'm doing this to get something. Mm-hmm. You're supposed to be doing it because you want to learn how to do it. Mm-hmm. That other stuff is what comes in this journey with experience. Mm-hmm. And so that's what I learned. I was like, well, I just need to just listen and focus and practice these moves and show up and just do it. And Nick drove that home for me a lot.
Yeah.
He just would always tell me, just show up. All right, I'll see you. Just show up. When you're feeling bad, just show up.
Yeah.
But that's hard, for somebody like me. And I don't know, everybody struggles. I'm not naive. People that don't have mental disorders struggle just as badly as I do. It's different. And it's a lot of times it's hard for people to understand that it's different. Mm-hmm. But it's hard for me sometimes when I'm feeling down to get out of that funk enough to get up and go to jiu-jitsu. It's gotten a lot better because I make excuses and then I fight those excuses. I'm like, just stop being like that. Just go, man. You're gonna feel better when you walk in and you talk to whoever, because there's 10, 15 guys there I talk to.
Hey, Trey, this is why we wanted to have you on the podcast, because I know there's a lot of people out there who listen who do have issues, who do struggle with similar things, from depression to bipolar disorder to other things. And so I think it's important to kind of, we were talking earlier before we started this, and I thought it was interesting that you found little tricks to get you out of that and kind of get you down a different path, and to kind of make sure that if you start going down that wrong path, that you can kind of hit it earlier. So talk about that a little.
You have to separate yourself from like whatever's coming, whatever wave of whatever's coming on, like whatever you struggle with. I mean, I know each person is different, and each thing is different. Depression and anxiety, they're different things, but there's always a point where you can feel something that is going to happen. You're like, okay, I'm feeling down, I'm feeling like something, and so right then, that's where you have to start. You have to be strong enough to fight it right there, because if you let yourself walk down the road, you're going to be fighting with it in that.
Can I take this on the mat? And that's why you fight so hard to maintain your guard, right? Because if you get in side control, right, they always say you should have never gotten side control.
It's over.
It's a terrible decision. So you're doing that to your mind. You're staying out of side control in your own mind.
Trying to stay in the guard in your brain, trying to keep that thing wrapped up, because your brain's strong. It's very strong. Yeah. And when you have a mental disorder or you struggle with something, it becomes weaker because that thing takes over. Excuse me. So just learning how to do that, and I can't tell you or anybody what it is, what you can do. It has to be something that you find out what it is, like what things keep you from being triggered. For me, it's physical release. If I get physical release, like doing some type of activity, I mountain bike, I play disc golf, I do jiu-jitsu, I work extremely physically. There's a slew of things that I do. So that's what helps me come back off the edge, doing something like that. If I'm having a bad day, don't just sit down in the computer and play video games and spiral. Because when I sit down, and my girlfriend will test this, because she'll tell me, she's like, you've been in the house too long, go to jiu-jitsu or do something, get out of the fucking house. Because if I sit there, it'll fester. My brain spirals at an alarming rate. And so I have to just fight that thing right there. And going to jiu-jitsu, if you don't work a physical job like I do, I have that advantage where I'm pretty tired at the end of every day. I work 8 to 10 to 12 hours a day. I do a lot of physical labor. So that does help. But like when you do that, and then I go to jiu-jitsu, when I go to like a Tuesday class, rolling with some of those savages, those brown belts and black belts and purple belts, dude.
They are savages. They are definitely savages.
It is. They are, dude. I just want to spend 30 seconds talking about how depressing that is. Knowing that you'll never be that good.
No, because they'll keep training.
It's something you have to deal with. You're never going to be that good. As good as they are. You'll be better.
Yeah.
But you're not going to be that good.
Yeah. I've said this before, but one of the things that really pointed me on the right path with my training was Lee. And one day I was rolling with Lee, and you know how freaking good he is, right?
Very cool.
Although we got to get Legs to do his impression of Lee in front of Lee. We have to do that. But and I've told this before, but Lee really put in perspective for me. And I was like a white belt or something. I don't know, whatever.
You're 2 or 3 stripe.
Yeah, 2 or 3 stripe, whatever. And I was rolling with Lee. I was, getting in great shape, and he just sensed my frustration, like, because he's so freaking good. I mean, I can do nothing. I feel like a little tiny baby.
It's like a fucking anaconda. He just curls you up and lays you out flat, dude.
Yep. And he said, and he kind of stopped when he sensed my frustration, and he said, Jeff, when you've done this for 9 years, you'll be this good too. I don't think so, but you know what I mean. And it kind of brought it all, and I was like, oh, it's not about that. And then from then on, like training for me just took a new direction and a way better direction. You know, whenever you kind of get that, not just humility, but that advice. You know, that just knowing over the course of time, things do get better. You know.
Yeah, things get easier, and also that's another thing that I want to stress is very important to people that may be struggling. The fight that you fight inside yourself is like something that you have to take responsibility for. So you have to be strong enough, and you have to put forth the effort to do this. Like you can't just be lazy with it. If you're gonna be lazy with it, you're just gonna struggle. If you're gonna make excuses, if you're gonna say, oh, I'll get to it later, if you're gonna do these things, if you're gonna procrastinate, it's not gonna get better. And I can't help you. There's nothing I can do. You know, I can be here for anybody. I can listen to all your problems. You can yell at me. You can do whatever. We can go outside. We can throw rocks. We can beat up shit. I don't care. Like I know all kinds of therapy shit. I've been in it since I was a kid. Mm-hmm. But you have to take that first step and be strong enough to fight it. So like that is like when you feel it coming on, taking that first step, getting up, going, okay, let me just get out of this situation I'm in. Let me just start over. If that's just getting up and leaving your house for a second, walking down the street, just breathing some fresh air real quick and be like, all right, let's change the pace, change the atmosphere. Things get stale when you sit in one place for too long.
For sure.
When you do one thing too long, things get really stale.
Tell me something. I want to ask about when you started really being cognizant of your nutrition. Like because when we were talking, you said you cut out all the sugars and stuff like that. Was that before or after you started jiu-jitsu?
It was. I'd have to ask my lady, but I think it was around the same time because me and her both were like, all right, we got to stop eating shit food. Yeah. Before we moved in together, when she would come to my house, I mean, every day we'd order takeout. It was bad. It was bad. And so I think just right around the same time, it had to have been the same time. Definitely jiu-jitsu inspired me to eat better because I knew that taking this responsibility and taking it seriously like I wanted it to, you have to sacrifice, and that's one of those things. You can't eat McDonald's cheeseburgers and pizza and try to keep up in a jiu-jitsu class. No. It's not going to work. You're going to gas out. You're going to be all those carbs are going to crash you out. Yep. And your muscles won't recover properly either. You need good food. So we just discussed one day, all right, let's go to the supermarket. Let's get vegetables. Let's get good proteins. She doesn't really eat red meat or anything like that. Sure. So she eats chicken, turkey, shrimp, stuff like that. I eat everything. Sure. So we'll eat chicken and all that stuff most nights. I'll cook myself a steak or burgers or something like that. Try to eat vegetables with every meal. Yep. No sugars, like no corn syrup, none of that crap. If I do eat something with sugar and it's like cane sugar, sometimes I eat stuff with sugar, and I'm not gonna sit here and try to lie and say I don't eat 1 ounce of sugar. Yeah. Like I just don't eat the really processed refined sugars. And stuff like that. And I stay away from all the processed. Like I try to stay away from processed and refined carbohydrate stuff that's been processed a bunch. Mm-hmm. Try to eat fresh stuff when I'm at work. They cook us like fresh meals for lunch. If not, nice. If not, I'll go get like sushi or something that's like prepared freshly. Try to stay away from sandwiches. A lot of bread. Yeah. Bread's not terrible. It's just don't eat a lot of it. Don't eat a lot of pasta. Eat some pasta. If you want pasta, eat fucking pasta. Right. It's delicious. Yeah. The Italians eat pasta all the time and they're not fat. It's just all the processed and refined stuff.
Different pasta though, because it's made with heirloom wheat. It's not made with the
completely different. We can go down that rabbit hole if you want.
No, thanks. We'll refer you to Joe Rogan podcast for that.
Refer you to all that crap. But yeah, so definitely detrimental. So when we started doing that, we went hardcore every day, meat, vegetables. Yeah. And we felt great. Yeah. Now, when I did initially do it, I did cut sugar out 100%. I had a headache for like 4 days.
Oh, it sucks.
It was unbearable. Yeah. So I was like, damn, I didn't know you really had
what's an addiction
detox.
to it?
Yeah, you had detox from sugar. That's scary.
Sure. It doesn't take long. Like I'll binge on like cookies every once in a while for like a couple of days, and like if I have it 3 or 4 days in a row, like I'm going home and I'm like thinking about it, But if I don't have it for a week, it doesn't even cross my mind. Yeah.
He'll eat those cookies till the box is gone.
Yeah, that's my problem
too. It's a box cookie a day. Yeah. I have the same addictive personality. I've had to give up a lot of different things. Like I don't drink. I don't I don't smoke anymore. I have to quit everything cold turkey. There is no moderation in my lifestyle. So,
well, that's good. It's I like seeing people with that kind of strength because that inspires me to do better. Because like I come from, like I said, a long line of addicts, and my addicts got their shit together. My grandma, my father, and I watched them do it. Mm-hmm. I didn't watch my grandma. I watched my father do it. My grandma did it before when I was young, but I watched my father go through it, and I watched him fight it, and I watched him come out the other side. And so, like, seeing things like that inspires me to do better because there's been a lot of times I didn't want to be on this earth, but to me, I, wanted to stay for some reason. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's something kept me here, whether it was thinking about my mom, being upset about it, or whatever. Like, there was never a time where I really sincerely considered killing myself. Although I understand, walking down that road, there's been a lot of times I simply just didn't want to be here. Yeah. Meaning I didn't want to participate. I just wanted to curl in a hole.
Sure.
That's a lot different than suicide. Just getting those two things separated out for people listening that, might think that that's what I'm talking about.
Or struggle with it.
Not wanting to be here is different from suicide. Like, there's a lot of times where you just don't want to be around anybody. You just want to curl up. Mm-hmm. And, fighting out of that is where, taking all the steps is how you get out of those, times. Like, I haven't been there in a long time. And I credit that to all the stuff I've been doing. Yeah. But if I stop doing it, it gets bad. Like when last couple months ago, right before Christmas, when I hurt my back, I couldn't come to jiu-jitsu for a month or so. Mm-hmm. And I could feel it creeping up. So I would go out and I would do walking and go to the park. I'd play a little disc golf. I wouldn't go crazy because my back was hurting, so I would just hang out. But I could feel it. Yeah. So the sacrifice for not taking pills that the doctor gives you is you got to just go till the gas tank's empty, basically. Yeah. And find those things. You don't have to do jiu-jitsu. I recommend it.
Yeah, they do. They do. This is a jiu-jitsu podcast.
We do not stand behind that comment.
We do not. We don't. For anything, it's got to be jiu-jitsu. You can do other stuff too, but it has to be jiu-jitsu.
For your mental health sake, I support whatever you want to do because I want you to be here. Yeah. So if you do participate in jiu-jitsu, I want people to be here because I've lost a lot of friends to these things. Yeah. But yeah, do jiu-jitsu. Definitely do jiu-jitsu, but also do other things. Find other things that make you happy that release that type of stress. It doesn't have to be physical. It can be anything. You want to paint? Mm-hmm. You want to, start a rap group? Do it. Mm-hmm. Do things that make you happy.
Phil and I are starting one.
Yeah, because they say, I can totally see that. It'd be the best. I'll buy your first album. I'll support you guys. Please don't do that.
No, we're not.
Please don't ever.
We are not, folks.
But yeah, so like I said, it doesn't matter. I don't know. I kind of lost my point there, but it doesn't matter what you do. Just find some type of release because the endorphins and the things that release in your brain while you're doing the things that make you happy are how you counteract those things. Yeah. So for me now, it becomes a lot easier. I go into my spouts sometimes.
Yeah. Well, I think it's so, and like what you're saying with the healthy outlet, and that's why I think jiu-jitsu is one of the best outlets or hobbies you can get into because jiu-jitsu has so many benefits from a self-defense standpoint and everything else and improving confidence and all that. But at the same time, and I've talked about this before, but it made me think about sleeping better. It made me think about exercising more. It made me think about nutrition more. I mean, it's going to have these trickle-down effects and they're not going to be immediate, and it could happen over time, but if you stay with it and you they always say catch the bug or whatever, and you're interested in actually improving in jiu-jitsu. And I think that's one of the healthiest hobbies, habits, things you can get into is going and trying to get better at that. Cause there's no downside.
Yeah, no, it's definitely something that feeds so many things. Physically, mentally, emotionally. There's been times I've left the gym on the verge of wanting to cry because I'm upset with myself because I can't do something right or I fucked something up or whatever. But then I get in the car and I'm like, listen, all this is just the emotion of you wanting to succeed. To turn this shit into, okay, you fucked that up, but why did you do that? What happened? Okay, now go through it in your head. Let's do it. So when we clean it up next time, you can remember. And that's a analogy for my life. Because that's the only way I've learned is just running right at things.
Yeah.
And that's why, like, in the beginning, I was spastic like every white belt is. But I learned, and I got put in check because I do run head first into things.
Yeah.
And so, like, that's why I feel also fortunate to have those guys over there, because they're all extremely talented and they know, like, how to just calm you down. And you're not going to get hurt, because I never got hurt.
Yep.
You know, I hurt myself once.
Yeah. Happens.
But they're not going to hurt you.
Yeah.
And they're very strong and scary.
Yeah. No.
I'm
Savages.
Besides that, so if any of them listen, they don't try to kill me. But yeah,
nobody listens to this podcast, Trey.
One thing, it's fine. I'm glad. So one thing you said too, Phil, immediate. Yeah, nothing's immediate. Like, don't go to jiu-jitsu and do it for a month and say, I didn't learn shit. You're not gonna learn shit in a month, dude. You're gonna barely learn how to move your hips in a month.
Learn how to fall. That'll be the best thing you ever do, though.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And when I started, like, that, like, I asked Nick, like, I did, like, a couple private lessons with him because I was just so confused. And so I just wanted some basic stuff. And he was like, just do this, practice this, do your shrimping, practice these moves, do these things, get your body used to moving in this way, because it's fucking weird.
Yeah, no, I tell new people sometimes, it's like they like look and they're like, I have no idea how to do that. And it's like, you're not supposed to.
No.
Most of the things you are going to do are going to be wrong, and nobody's just born knowing how to do it. So you have to learn. And going back to his point, it's like, imagine if you would do this for 9 years and it didn't really matter, and somebody could walk in and after 3 months was, doing whatever they want better than you. It's like, why in the world did you do this for 9 years?
You wasted 9 years.
Yeah, it's not, there's no point in it. It's like, and that should be, the motivating aspect of it is, it's like, it clearly works if you put the time in and figure it out.
It's
and
so humbling,
that's what separates it from
I love
other
humbling
things.
experiences, man, because that's like, well, like I said, my ego is what I've struggled with. So anytime I can be, however you say that, humbleized or whatever, anytime I can, see, what it's like and be put in check, basically, because of the things that I think, or the way that my attitude affects the way I act, I like it. I'm like, okay, good. That's another way for me to just figure this out, this thing, because it's never going to end. It's like jiu-jitsu, and that's another thing. That's another parallel to, like, dealing with, like, problems in your brain and dealing with, like, depression. Like, there's the anxiety. These things don't go away. Like jiu-jitsu, it's lifelong. It's either lifelong. You can quit
you're
jiu-jitsu.
going to get better at jiu-jitsu no matter how long you do it. If you've been doing it for 20 years, you're still going to get better at jiu-jitsu.
Right.
Just like your mental health, you have to battle it. You have to, and like you found those, let's say, hacks to attacking it early whenever you feel the onset. You may not have known that if you didn't go to jiu-jitsu, or you may be getting better at it, right?
Yeah, well,
maybe
it's definitely
better at dealing with it, right?
Because that's not knowing, going through my 20s and not having any kind of just running at everything head first and not knowing any way to cope with things. I got myself into a bunch of terrible situations, and I learned from those situations. But I didn't have outlets there. I didn't have healthy outlets. I had negative outlets.
Yeah.
I had all the terrible outlets.
Yeah.
And so the positive outlets like jiu-jitsu are what helped me hone them better. Yes, definitely. And also fucking up, failing.
Sure.
You gotta fail, man.
Yeah. Same way with on the mat, right?
And
You
try
fail,
like
right?
that. If you like, I can see when people come how much effort they really give.
Yeah.
And if you don't try, you're not gonna get any better at this. At the mental shit, it's just gonna stay stagnant or get worse. Please try. If you need help with something, ask me. If you see me somewhere and you want to talk about something, ask me. I don't care. I'm a white belt. I don't know much about jiu-jitsu yet, but the mental thing I have like a 30% handle on, and it's better than most people do.
Yeah.
And I always, like, I have friends that are doing. I always talk to people to get their perspectives, because I think everybody's different. They try to make it like lump into one thing. Mental problems.
Well, everybody wants to make it easy for people to understand and
Right.
put them into these silos that don't actually exist.
Right.
You know?
And so, like, getting to know people that have different disorders. I have somebody in my girl's family is close, struggles with the same thing, but she's different. We're different. We struggle similarly, but it's different. So I like getting her perspective. So I always ask her a question.
Yeah, that's a healthy way to do it too. And Trey, thank you very much for coming on and sharing your story. I think whenever you approached us, it's been a subject that I think both Phil and I have wanted to tackle for a while. It's just that we don't understand it, so we don't know what advice to offer. So having that advice from you and having that sharing your experience, that means a lot to people out there who are similarly struggling with things that may not be exactly the same, but that may benefit from what you have to say.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys for inviting me. And like my stories, it's not as crazy as it sounds. I mean, I struggle with a lot of stuff, but there's people out there that go through far worse.
Sure.
And just trying it's going to get better if you want it to. Just try. Just show up, man. You'll find the connection. You'll find somebody that'll help you. I haven't quite made the connection that you two have. Mm-hmm. I'm a little envious of that, jealous of that, not in a negative way, mm-hmm. but you two have a tight connection. I see those connections in my school and in other schools. Mm-hmm. So I want that. I'll find it, I'm sure, on this journey.
Of course you will.
I'm very open-minded now that I've centered myself. Now I'm just along for the ride.
Yeah.
The belts will come, the stripes will come, the fun events will come, the seminars will come. I'm just going to try to show up and do my best.
That's all you can do. And folks, if you want to follow Trey out there, he's on Instagram. It's B_the_mountains. So be like the mountains with underscore between each word. So go out there and give him a follow. Check him out. Maybe he'll even post some jiu-jitsu pictures.
Maybe. I'm not super active on Instagram because I like to stalk people and look at stuff, but maybe I'll post
You're a
some
lurker.
stuff. I am a lurker, man. I'm very private.
Right on. We'll post some pictures and tag Trey in them from today's training. We did an open mat today.
That was very fun.
But thanks for being on. I really appreciate it. I want to shift gears now because I got something I want to talk about.
Is it my stuffy nose?
Huh?
What? My stuffy nose?
I just want to talk about jiu-jitsu, Phil.
Yeah.
Okay?
It's hard to breathe.
Huh? What?
I thought we were going to talk about whatever. What do you want to talk about?
We're going to talk. We're going to talk about. We're not talking about your cold and getting rid of it, Phil. No,
it won't go away.
Do more Zicam for God's sakes. Phil's addicted to Zicam, by the way.
It's terrible.
But no, I want to talk about Kasai Pro last night. Did you see any of it?
No.
It's on Flow Grappling. Kasai Pro. They had a 16-man division. I think it was 16-man. Maybe 8-man.
Everybody who won's already lost to Gordon Ryan, so
that's true.
It's irrelevant.
See, now you're getting on board. I like that.
It was his Instagram post this morning when I opened it up.
Ryan's
so
nuts.
We are Gordon Ryan.
I know he's
Dick Riders. but no. So Cyborg won, but there's controversy, Phil.
Okay.
Nick Rodriguez. He won the same amount of matches as Cyborg. And that was, so they won the same amount of matches, but Cyborg finished more of his. And that was the criteria on which he won.
More submissions?
Yes.
Okay.
Come on. Let's hear it. What's your thoughts? I mean, that's controversy.
How is that controversial if that's how it's set up? He won more the way they want you to win.
I just really like Nick Rodriguez. I don't know.
Why? Is it because he's muscular?
Because he's very muscular and he trains with Gordon Ryan.
Okay.
I think, so no controversy. However, Cyborg did bleed a lot.
I did see a video clip with him like kind of Frankenstein up.
Yeah.
You said that weird.
Lucas Barbosa cut him up.
Okay.
Pretty good. But that was a great match. He was aggressive.
David and Diane were there.
Get out of here.
Yeah. Because it must have been in Texas.
It was in Texas.
Yeah, they were there. She got a picture with, I think it was Lucas Barbosa. Is he the Hulk?
Huh?
Who's the Hulk?
Yeah, I think that's Lucas Barbosa.
I think that, because I think it was the same guy when I saw a clip with no head wraps and then a head wrap. and it was the same dude.
No, that's Cyborg.
Who he was going against.
Oh yeah,
I know who Cyborg is. I don't know who he was going against.
Lucas Barbosa. Yeah.
But she got a picture with him, and David was there and got pictures with people and stuff. So
okay. Yeah, no, that was there was no controversy. Cyborg deserved to win it, and
yeah, it seems like it.
Yeah, for sure. But
even if those weren't the rules, and that's how they had to decide, that makes perfect sense.
no, I think it was. I mean, no, there was. I think that was the rules.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No, it wasn't like they just made shit up.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, obviously, because I
love making shit up. Huh? You love making shit up. So
I make 95% of my statistics up on the spot.
That's true.
That was just one of them.
I was listening back and confirm that. It's entertaining, though. I'll give you that.
No, but so Philly, tell the folks out there if they wish to do so, how they can support us.
buy a rash guard, t-shirt, hoodie, and a patch. And Instagram, YouTube. What's the other one?
We've
Facebook
been
group.
killing it on Instagram
Oh,
lately.
all right. So decent story for the Facebook group here because Patrick's been killing the memes and
He
stuff.
has been killing me.
We're in the middle of a roll, and he just starts laughing.
What's he laughing about?
I didn't really think too much of it, but I'm like, I assumed it was because like sometimes I'll like laugh or something when I see something coming and they do it, and I'm like, you can't do anything about it or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then like 30 seconds later, he goes, I haven't posted it yet, but I've made a meme. And I'm like,
that directly addressed the
I don't know.
situation.
I don't know if the situation like popped up and it made him think of it. I don't know, but I'll see.
Folks,
later.
I don't know about you,
Facebook.
but I can't wait till Patrick
I
posts that meme.
haven't opened up Facebook yet, so I don't know what it is.
Y'all's meme game's getting a little stronger.
It's getting better.
It's getting better.
It's just like jiu-jitsu, Trey. You get better at
Just
memes
takes
the more
time.
memes you make.
There was one that I laughed out loud, but I'm not gonna lie.
Which one?
I snickered a little bit. I can't remember off the top of my head which one it was, but when I looked at it, I was like, these fucking guys. I'm a meme guy. I like memes. I think they're funny.
Who doesn't? I mean, listen, I don't really want to know you if you don't like memes. I'm just putting it out there.
I can agree with that.
What are your thoughts on TikTok?
No.
I like the parts that are like ridiculous.
No.
Like the stupid, outlandish things. The people that take it seriously, it's no fun. But when you see people on there are some people, and it's like some X-rated stuff that is hilarious. There's this one guy,
TikTok
dude.
after dark.
There's this one guy. I'm not gonna say his name, so you can go look him up. But he just wants other adult men to come over and spend time with him in a very aggressive way.
Oh, really? That's hilarious.
Posts it, like videos of him, and it's super aggressive.
Hilarious.
Verbal aggression comes out of this guy's voice. It's hilarious. So yeah, I'm a fan of people doing dumb shit.
Yeah.
And me laughing at it.
Yeah.
Me and my girl love people watching. So
yeah, I know. I mean, it's a great pastime. There's some good people.
You guys do
watching all around.
McDojo life?
Oh yeah, it's the best.
So, it's the best.
Yeah. The best follow on Instagram. Oh, other than Nature is Metal.
Oh yeah, Nature's Metal is the best. But
Yeah.
I'm just talking about McDojo life because the memes. I mean,
Yeah. Oh, the memes are.
dude, so much
Off the
stuff.
chain.
I think that guy's making a documentary.
He is making a
He
documentary.
should. There's so much
doing crowdfunding now for
jargon
it.
out there that people actually, and I didn't believe that people actually bought into it until you see these videos and people defending them too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People are like, "Oh, this is real." It's like, no, it's not real.
How can you do that, man? How can you be part of something like that? Because then after you spend, your year of doing it, then you get to be that person who does the death chi.
Did you ever see the guy, him and that guy slapbox?
Oh God, that's terrible. Yes,
It was frightening. But I laughed a little bit, but I was like, that's
it's terrible.
what happens.
Yeah, it's what
I
happens.
don't feel bad for those people. Like
Nope.
the guy that got eaten by that bear because he wanted to have a selfie with him.
Yeah,
I didn't feel bad for him.
No.
I'm sorry that might be heartless, but like,
a
you
tragedy.
play dumb games, you're gonna win those prizes.
Yeah, yep.
And
Yep.
Population control, I guess.
yes, yeah, that's very true. Give
Come
them
to
that one out of the
jiu-jitsu,
gene
don't
pool.
take selfies with bears.
That's
Your
a
life
good
will
idea.
get better.
Great advice. And for everybody out there, go out there and do something to make yourself better each and every day. Me, Phil, Trey, we all choose jiu-jitsu. We hope you do too.
I'm about to feed him to the sharks right now. Get him hype right now. Yeah. You know the ground is up. Yeah. Everybody that trains, you know the game. Yeah. So let's get it. Slap it up, bump it, and roll. Yeah, that's the way that it goes. Ain't no better way to better yourself in this game. You're feeling the growth. That's time on the mat. We put in the work. Believe it ain't easy, I know. But we train for the love of the game, the love of the art. Now slap it up, bump it, let's roll.